Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I am just great.
Just
great. Just great. Yeah?
Nope, that's not the banner for today.
That is not
Sorry.
the banner for today.
I wanted to write in tuition and metrics. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes.
There we go. Did I even spell that right? I did.
You sure
do you know
did.
what I did last night? I'm going to just do a little braggy brag because
What'd you do?
I'm proud of myself. Lunges and squats.
Whew.
Yeah, I know. At like 5:30.
What?
I know.
I'm so impressed.
Me too.
Lunges
and you know what it was?
All right.
Because
say more.
I'm trying to regain some muscle.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
Versus
Noted.
The walking and like the yoga and the stretching and whatever.
Yep.
And so I've committed to this 12-week thing that requires me to like lunge and squat and do
Lord.
other bodily movements with weight 3 times a week.
Bodily movements. Oh my gosh.
Like
I'm impressed.
And I didn't want to do it. And I want to share what the only reason that I did it was because I tell people every day to do shit they don't want to do.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I committed. So just like how they commit, like you all watching, you've committed. And I tell you, no, you do the Facebook Live. Like you'll be fine. You won't die. I promise. Like do the Facebook Live. You just have to do it. Like stop giving excuses, blah, blah, blah. Just like go and do it.
Yep.
So literally I was sitting on the floor, like about to put, like sitting there, like, do I push play? Do I like, I have other things to do, like all the excuses, right? And I was like, no, don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite. So I appreciate all y'all motivation because you were with me during the lunging and the squatting that I did not want to do. That I am 100% certain at around 4:30 today, I will not be able to get to the toilet. You know when you do that? It's going down the stairs and getting to the toilet.
So what you're saying is indirectly, this community is going to be responsible for the lift of your booty.
Yes.
Is what we're saying.
Thank you all very much. Let's hope so. Let's hope that that happens. No, it's my 40th birthday in July. And listen, like I got my personal training certification in 1999. It's not like I don't know. Right? I was a trainer for many, many years. And, you know, I was in like pretty solid shape for a while. I just stopped lifting the weights because I don't like doing it. I prefer to walk. And like, I'm good to walk on like an incline at a hefty pace. Like, it's not like I'm like full on sedentary. I just, don't like that type of movement. Plus, let's be honest, my adrenals were not liking the intensity with which I was moving my body. So I had to scale it back. Anyway, little inside scoop about what I did last night. I'll let y'all know if I can walk by the 4:30.
Stay tuned to the Instagram stories. And
let's also be clear. I'm not adverse to taking an Advil either. Let's be clear about that. I'm not the one to be like, oh, no, I will be popping the Advil. All right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's go because this is an important topic.
It is.
And we were going to make signs and I was going to hold up the one called intuition. And Laura's going to hold up the one called metrics.
Metrics.
Because I'm like, I feel like we should do this. And Laura's like, the numbers say.
Actually.
And that's how our relationship is. I'm like, what about this? And she's like, well, the numbers. I'm like, oh, okay. So how do we do it, right? Because I'm certain that there are those of you who run your business based off of your feelings.
Yes.
Only.
Yes.
And that's how I did it for so long. And also, like, it wasn't bad. Like, my feelings got us pretty far.
Feelings are good.
Feelings and intuition and like gut instinct. And I think that what I describe as like my feelings and my gut instinct, I'll just move my mic a little closer, is paying very close attention to the community and the temperature of the community and what they want and what they need, and genuinely tapping into, and I am like a highly intuitive, highly sensitive person,
Yes.
as it is. And so I have that ability, and I have also honed that ability over the years.
Yes.
Like, it's a skill that I practice, and like I put effort and energy into really honing my intuition and sort of allowing ideas to flow and just all of that stuff. But I think that the reason that I was able to use my intuition and use my feelings to get us to multi-million dollars before we even started tracking, because let's be clear, that's how far my intuition got us.
Yes.
Right? Like, and it's because I was able to tap into the community and to the collective and really put myself in the shoes of you, of our ideal client, of the practitioners and of the coaches. And we'll talk about this, but even when the metrics dictate something, we still 100% of the time go back to client success. How will this impact? Because the metrics could tell us one thing.
Yes.
But no matter what, we always go back to, is this in the collective's best interest?
And I think just taking it back for like a half second, what makes you so successful in following intuition and feelings, and I think this is a really important distinction, in my opinion, is that you can feel the feelings, and then you are self-aware enough to be able to examine where the feelings are coming from. And I think that's the key kind of differentiator between success in following your feelings in business and massive failure in following your feelings in business, because feelings can come from fear, scarcity, uncertainty, inner desire to stay where you are, inner desire to not push past comfort levels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think if you are not self-aware and you don't have guidance as to where those feelings may or may not be coming from, you can hold yourself back.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Can you give an example?
Oh my gosh. Okay. An example. Let's just like an every single day example. You know that you need to start a Facebook group for your ideal clients, but you have a feeling that, they're going to expect so much of you when they get in there, and you don't have anything, ready to go and posted. And so you think that you have a feeling that they are going to be, disappointed and maybe look at you less as an expert because the group is not perfect. That would be a feeling telling you to not start that group until you are 100% ready and you have 14 different posts and all of those things, right? Versus the feeling that, if we do X, our clients will feel more supported.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yes. So the differentiator is resistance. So I am self-aware enough.
Yes.
And I've vocalized this too. And I think this is really important to say, I'm not sure if this is right, but this is how I feel.
Yes.
And I say that a lot. Like
all the time.
Like, I'm just going to voice it.
Yeah.
And then or I'll say, no, I'm usually not wrong about these things.
Yes.
And I think it's really important when we talk about using intuition to make decisions for your business, for you to become self-aware enough to ask yourself to say, is this coming from fear? Is, the resistance and me hemming and hawing about this decision coming from fear or resistance, right? Or is it coming from, a place of, I don't know how to do this, but I know I need to.
Yes.
Because really I say that a lot. Like, I don't know how to do this, but I know we need it.
Yep. Yes.
And we just had that example yesterday when we were talking about HR legal things.
Yes.
And
totally.
Immediately, as soon as it was brought to my attention, I was like, oh, we need that. Like immediately, like I'm not wasting any time. It was a very strong intuition where it was said to me like, no, you don't need to act like no, you don't need to act on this, but like, here's an option that you could do in the sense of like making sure that your contracts with your team are safe, blah, blah, blah. And every cell in my body was like, do this now, do not wait. And I was like, nope, we need this now. I'm not going to wait. And there were other people that were like, are you sure? I'm like, 100% I'm sure. I don't even know what this entails. I have no idea how much is this going to cost, but my whole body is screaming at me right now that we must do this immediately.
Yep.
And that is listening to your body. One of our clients yesterday in our coaching call, Petya, and she was saying feelings are felt in your body. So what is your body telling you? And it's the same thing. And if any of you have ever been in a coaching call with me where I'm like, this is what's coming up for me right now, and I'm just going to say it, and I've never been told I was wrong, that is intuition. Like that is listening to the whispers in your body, listening to your feelings. Now, the flip side, which is why we wanted to have this conversation, is because I've said before, I feel like we should do this.
Yes.
Because I'm listening to the community and or my intuition. And then Laura will say, actually, the metrics are telling us that like this other thing would be a better opportunity.
Yes. I think that's where metrics can come in real handy, is that ideas can be great. It doesn't mean that they should be implemented right now. And it doesn't mean that they are great in terms of the goals that you've set for yourself, your business, your programs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so intuition can tell you something's a good idea, whereas metrics and data can tell you whether it's a good idea right now. And I think that is really important. And that's where we've been able to end up with like a really good balance between intuition and feelings, and then the numbers and the metrics and the spreadsheets and the data to decide what to do.
Yeah. And you might have an idea. Like yesterday, we were talking about the $37 membership.
Yes, totally.
Right? And you might be like, oh my gosh, I have this idea. And your gut is like screaming at you. And this is what the people need.
So
because
good.
You have a belief that nobody will pay you more than $37 and all of that good stuff. And then just like we did, we ran the numbers.
Metrics and data.
We ran the numbers and we were like, if you like 100 people a month is $3,700. Like, what are you going to do with $3,700 a month to run a full-on business? That's not an ideal scenario. So you would need, I think it was like 270 new or maintain a threshold of 270 clients to make $10,000.
Yes.
Which which is a lot of people. And what would that take to be able to do that? And so you might have an idea, you might have an inkling, you might have a feeling where you're like, oh my gosh, they need this so bad. I'm asked about this. And you might then go ahead and execute on it, which listen, I did that for years, right? You might go ahead and execute on it. And then 6 months later, you're like, oh.
Yes. But again, here's where metrics can come in handy, because you don't stop with the metrics at the decision-making process, right? You do something, You implement something and then you track it and you look at the metrics and you maintain the metrics and you examine them on a weekly and a monthly and a quarterly and a yearly basis. And then you make future decisions based on that. And you might say, you know what? This wasn't such a great idea after all. I didn't have the metrics at the outset. So I made the decision based on intuition. Cool.
Yeah.
But now the numbers are telling me that this actually isn't working the way I thought or hoped it would right now.
Exactly. And this is also, you know, I'm thinking of another client who shut her membership down because even though she was making about $1,000 a month from it, which if she looked at the metrics, she'd be like, okay, I'm making $1,000 a month. She didn't like it.
Yes. Her intuition was telling her it wasn't serving her people. It wasn't serving her.
Exactly. And so there has to be this, you know, what do you place more importance on? And if you asked me, I would say how you feel 100%, because you can have, and I've done this, we've had revenue streams in the business, we've had programs, and you will have this too in yours. You will have something that is generating you revenue.
Yes.
That you no longer want to execute on for whatever reason.
Yep.
And that's going to be true, right? You might say, you know what, I'm going to modify it and I'm going to put it over here, or I'm going to shut it down and I'm going to start something else. And the metrics might say that's dumb because it's generating revenue for you with a very low cost of execution. Yes. And the metrics will say that.
But here's where you can make the metrics work for you. So you make the decision because ultimately it's up to how you want to feel in your life, in your business, in everything. So you say to the metrics, okay, metrics, what are the ramifications if I shut this down?
Yeah.
What then do I need to do to either compensate for that or, you know, whatever it is to make sure that I'll be okay if I make this decision, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They can work for you in either scenario. That's the great thing about metrics. They don't have feelings. They don't care what you do. They just tell you numbers and you can manipulate those numbers to show you different scenarios and different outcomes and support yourself with them.
Yes. So we've had many clients say to us, you know, I don't want to run this offer anymore, or I don't want to run this program anymore, or I want to start this.
Yep.
And it works both ways. And we're like, cool. So if you shut this down, the case in our client, $1,000.
Yep.
You have to generate half a client more a month because she sells her half a client.
Yes.
So a client, right? You can't enroll half a person, but one client a month to replace that. She was like, oh, and she didn't think about it that way because she was so caught up in the feelings of what if they're angry? What if they're mad? What if this? What if that? And we're like, listen, like, it's your business. It's your joy. It's your fulfillment.
Yes.
Even if these people who love your content and are super happy and it's generating you money, if you're not into it, it's taking energy away from you being of full service, of fully showing up in all areas. If you feel like, just even if it's simple to run, like, oh, it'll only take me like 10 hours a month, and you are not obsessed with those 10 hours, then it is taking energy units away, and that's not fair to anyone.
No, and I would say that even if right now the clients love it and, you know, the program does well and et cetera, you leave it in that scenario for too long where you don't love what you're doing and you start to even maybe resent it and not want to do it and put off the tasks, clients will eventually feel that and it won't continue in that capacity.
And it's not fair. So when you think about like, okay, you know, even if it's making you money and it's, you know, it's only just 10 hours a month or it's only just an hour a week in our line of work, because we are feeling people and because we are here to deliver transformation, it's not wise to spread yourself too thin and to offer things that you are not wholeheartedly 100% obsessed with.
Yes.
And that I think is true of all entrepreneurial businesses. And the flip side is that the flip side is that, so shutting it down, starting something, right? The flip side is, okay, you have an idea to start a $37 membership. Cool. And your intuition is screaming at you and you have this idea and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to love it. That's going to be so and it's good. Only 10 hours a month and it's going to be mostly automated. No worries, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and you do it. Well, everything that we do takes energy units. Everything that we do. So let's just say that I operate every day. I think I have 10 energy units, right? Yeah. That's how I think. So every day I have 10 energy units. And what am I going to put my energy units towards, right? Yep. So 1 energy unit goes towards movement, 4 goes towards my children, right? Like, how am I distributing these energy units? So if you have, right, however many energy units a month, and you take away some energy units for this thing, but you don't feel like it's contributing back more than you're giving, you're not going to be happy.
Yes.
Because then you start to be resentful.
Yes.
Right? So
absolutely.
Money is energy. So if you are putting out X number of energy units from your heart,
yes,
and you're getting less energy units back in the form of money, there's an imbalance there.
Yes.
And that's when you start to be annoyed with your clients because there's a disproportionate amount of energy out to energy in.
Yes.
So even though it's only 10 hours in your head at the start, once you start doing it, and the metrics might say, but it's making you money, but you're disproportionately unhappy.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So this, you have to sort of weigh both. It's not one or the other. Right? It's not one or the other. And when you're making decisions, you get to choose ultimately. I'll give you another example. The Wellness Business Summit.
Yes, that's a good example.
Okay.
Really good example.
The Wellness Business Summit is a live event that I have run since 2013. I skipped 2018. We ran it again in 2019. It crushed it.
Yes.
And while it was happening, we all loved it.
Yes.
And the metrics would say you're dumb for not doing it again.
Yes, to all that.
And yet the thought of having to plan another live event made me throw up in my mouth.
The energy units for that event were all encompassing.
It was disproportionate at this point in my life.
Yes.
Even though that event made us a lot of revenue and community goodwill and equity in the industry and all of that, even if I packaged all of that, it still wasn't equal to the energy that I had to put out. And so my intuition, because that was like a hard decision because we booked it. Thank God we canceled that though. Can you imagine? Anyway, thank God. But I lost the deposit because in the moment I was like, no, we're doing this again. This is amazing.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. We loved connecting with our people. It was amazing. And then that wore off and we had to start planning. And I was like, oh my God.
We remembered the 4 months prior to the event.
In the face. Like, no, thank you. Right. And my intuition was like, cancel it, cancel it, cancel it.
Yeah.
Cancel it, lose the money, lose the deposit, cancel it, cancel it, cancel it.
Yep.
And so I canceled it.
You went into that decision with all the information because you had metrics. What's it going to cost to cancel it? What does that mean? What are we going to do that month instead? How are we going to make up that lost revenue?
Yeah.
And then we made a decision.
And the decision was fully based in my feelings.
Yep.
100%. Full on feelings of like, no, I don't want to do this. I know all the reasons why I should, and they're very good, but no, I don't. Me, Lori, like putting myself first. I don't want to do this. And you're allowed, like you are allowed. This is my company, it's my business, it's my life. And if I'm just going to do something because on paper it says that I should, I am going to be very unhappy.
I think this whole conversation really comes down to the importance of both of these pieces in any given part of your life, but in any business. Because, if you look at a business based solely on metrics and numbers and bottom lines and red and black, you have like a heartless, soulless, almost purposeless business aside from generating income, which is not satisfying for most people. And if you have a business that's built solely on what I feel right now in the moment, with zero foresight or thought into the ramifications and the effects and the data, you're likely not going to be able to build something long-term.
Yeah.
But if you can marry the two and make decisions guided by your intuition and guided by your feelings, but supported by full transparency across what will happen if you choose to follow that intuition and feelings, you get to make these really cool, empowered, fun, profitable, both in feeling profit-wise and in revenue profit-wise decisions.
Yeah. And I think that you become more confident in the ability to do that as your business grows, where you can sit down and say, I will get all the metrics and I'll literally be like, what do I feel? Body, okay, let's go. Tell me, kind of thing. And that's really important. And it's important to honor how you feel and not just, listen, in business and in life, like Laura said, it's important to honor how you feel and the vision that you have for your business and your life. And mine was always time freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Time freedom and financial security and impact. And those three things, and I would even say client success over profit, that is our guiding core values. Those are the ways that we make decisions in every department, in everything that we do. And it's not just the bottom line on paper.
Yeah.
And that's important. So when you are coming up with ideas or when you are deciding, should I close this? Should I start this? Should I make this? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's both. It's understanding the numbers of your business and also how is this going to make you feel? Is this going to take in more energy units than you have right now? Is this going to detract from, the core values of your business, or is this going to propel you forward?
Yeah.
And that's the best way that we can describe for you to sort of think more like a CEO and think more in terms of a responsible business owner versus just having an idea and executing it.
Yep.
So that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned over the last decade is it's not either or, it's both. It's intuition and metrics. Both. That is it.
Love it. So good.
Yeah. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
See y'all tomorrow.
Bye.